The Stinky Giant. A long time ago, a brother and a sister lived in a beautiful valley. The sister's name was Pepper, the brother's name was Jake. They had a happy life. Every day they sang songs and watched their sheep. They only had one problem. The problem's name was Yerk. Yerk was a huge, mean giant. He was rude, he was ugly. When Yerk burped, it sounded like thunder. When he sneezed, houses blew away. Yerk lived in a castle. It was way up on the top of the mountain. Every Thursday, Yerk washed his clothes. Yerk's clothes were very big. Yerk's wash tub was very big too. When he was done washing his clothes, Yerk emptied his wash tub. The water came roaring down the mountain. It made a huge flood. So Pepper and Jake had to walk down the valley to get their sheep back. Pepper and Jake were tired of Yerk and Yerk's laundry. One day, Jake fell into a big puddle of Yerk's dirty wash water. He came out all stinky. That's it. We're going to talk to Yerk, said Jake. They looked up at Yerk's castle. It would be hard to get there, but they knew they had to go. So they made some egg and salty pickle sandwiches. They filled a goatskin bag with water. And they set out to climb Yerk's mountain. They climbed up, up. The higher they went, the colder it got. Their teeth chattered, their sweat froze. After a while, they got hungry. They stopped to eat their sandwiches. Their lunch made them thirsty, but the water in the goatskin was frozen solid. Finally, they arrived at the castle. They banged hard on the door. The door swung open. There, sitting at the table, was Yerk. He was having a gigantic bowl of smelly soup. Well, said the giant, what do you want? We want you to stop flooding us with your dirty wash water, said Pepper. The giant's laughter boomed across the room. But Jake and Pepper scolded at him so he would know how serious we were. Yerk just kept laughing. Okay, Yerk finally said, I have an idea. We giants have a secret riddle. No one has ever been able to answer it. If you can't answer the riddle, I will boil you for soup and I will throw your sheep in too. If you can answer it, I lose. I will move away. Where will you move to? Asked Pepper. You can pick because I won't lose, said Yerk. Jake pointed to the map. Here, he said. They shook on it. Yerk gave them the riddle. There is something you see every day, and it is one thing, but also three things. I will give you 3 days to come up with an answer, shouted the giant. Now go home. Pepper and Jake went down the mountain. Look, said Pepper, the ice in the bag has turned back to water. Jake was so thirsty he drank half of the water. When they finally got home, they started thinking about the riddle. What could be one thing but three things? They only had 3 days, or they would be Jake and Pepper and sheep soup. What about a fish? Pepper said. First it's an egg, then it's a fish. And that's all, said Jake. 2 things. On the second day, Jake had an idea. Peanut butter, he said. It's crunchy or it's creamy. And that's all, said Pepper. Then she said, what about a book? It's open or its clothes. But that was only two things. And that they were so tired they had to go to sleep. But they went to bed scared. If they didn't come up with an answer tomorrow, they would be soup. On the third morning, Jake and Pepper were really worried. Today, they had to go back to Europe, and still, they had no answer. Let's have some dandelion tea, said Pepper. It'll help us think. So Jake put water in kettle and put the kettle on to boil. Pepper decided she would have some iced tea. Soon, the water was boiling. The kettle whistled. The steam came jetting out of the stove. Jake and Pepper looked at the steam. They looked at Pepper's eyes. Then they looked at each other. Water, they said together. Water, like the stuff they used to make tea. Water, like the ice in Pepper's glass. And water, like the steam coming out of the kettle. They raced back up the mountain. They didn't even care that the water in the ghostskin bag was turning to ice. And they didn't even care about your steamy, stinky wash water. They had won. We figured it out, said Pepper. It's water, said Jake. Steam, ice, and liquid, but all water. You turned red. Then he turned purple. No, he shouted. You couldn't have figured that out. Nobody figures it out. But they had, and a deal was a deal. You could have to move to the horrible land of Hui, and you would have to wash his clothes in the great smelly swamp. Yerk hated it, but a deal was a deal. He left the very next day for the horrible land of Hui, but he left his dirty socks behind. That's the end. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you, and bye.